Homeowners Fair, and kind of the whole point of view of this is so that you don't my job today is to get you started creating a plan so that you never have to sell your house in a panic. Okay? So kind of an interesting thing for a cash home buyer to do, but it's what we do. And I actually wrote a book for seniors about all the kinds of options for, you know, basic paperwork that everyone should have to avoid probate and to make transitions easier. And the things to think about that we often don't think about. Like, when we can't take care of our homes anymore, what are our options? What should we be thinking about? And the kinds of choices that we need to make. Whether we live with a family member, we move into an adult community, such as the one we're in today, or other choices that we have trying to live at home for as long as possible. There are a lot of programs depending on your financial means. And one of the reasons why we put together this fair is because I'm not a professional, I'm a general contractor, right? But I know things that go wrong with families and people. So we have, actually Sherry's here from Newly Transitions, and they are really good at helping people go from a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house down to a 1-bedroom, 1-bath place. You know, what are the important things to keep? What kinds of things you got to think about ahead of time for making these kinds of transitions? We have, Dustin couldn't be with us, but he did a video for us, really talking about the kinds of paperwork and legal issues that every adult over the age of 18, but especially those over 60, should be thinking of. Obviously, we're going to have Shauna speak today about senior living communities. We also have Michael, who you guys know, and are big fans of, talking about financial planning, so that when you do make these transitions, you can pay for them. The funds will be there, and again, the reason I wrote the book is because so many people, either look, there's plans that need to be made. Whether you have the time to make them in a intelligent, thoughtful, easy pace, or you have to make them in an emergency situation or other people need to make those decisions for you. Decisions need to be made. And so I actually have a workbook, and I've given you guys a copy of this, that goes along with it. So here we talk about it, but here we write out things that you need to think about. So that's what I want to talk about today, you know, and obviously these are things that we give out for free, because we don't like seeing people making a decision all at one time. So let's go past the about me part. So you're going to start off by having one place for all the contact information for your people. The people that are important to you, your kids, your attorneys, your financial planners, where your trust is, emergency contact numbers, your advisory team, all that goes here. We have a spot in here for you to kind of go through to let your kids or your loved ones know where the documents are hidden.
Oh, jeez.
Okay? I mean, I help people go through their mom's house, they know there's a trust, they don't know the name of the attorney who wrote the trust. The trusts aren't like recorded at the county or the city or anything. They're in someone's house in a book.
Yeah.
So you need to know where those are. Otherwise, your estate is going through probate. You only do that if you really hate your children, right? Because it's expensive. And it takes 15 months right now to go through a simple probate in Sacramento. And it costs 4 to 5% of the estate plus. And you're not guaranteed that what your wishes were are carried out. So again, we really recommend that you have an attorney. Create the basic paperwork. Now, I'm not an attorney, so I don't know all about that, but I know they are a trust if you own a home. or anything over $100,000, you should have a trust. A durable power of attorney for financial matters, an advanced healthcare directive, so that people know what your wishes are about your well-being and who gets to make those decisions. Because I have seen fights outside of hospital rooms with the family. It gets very upsetting very quickly. And then also pour over wills to talk about the little things, those sentimental things that aren't part of the trust, right? Obviously, you need to talk to financial planners and attorneys about stuff like what should be in the trust. Should it be your homes, your rentals? Do you need a life insurance policy? For some reason, sometimes you need those in the trust. Sometimes you definitely don't want them in the trust. Retirement plans, things like that. I'm not an expert, but these questions are all in the book. So that you know the questions to ask. Computer passwords. Okay? Right now, I am the guiltiest of this, okay? If you look at my computer password book, you'll like, huh? You couldn't figure out what password goes to what thing. You write out the important websites. Obviously, this is something you want to keep locked up, but people need to know these passwords to be able to take care of your business. Also, when you're making a plan, the important thing is to know what the end is in mind, right? Some people want to stay in a certain area of town. You know, they grew up here. You couldn't dynamite my mother out of Oak Grove. Okay? And no matter what you tried to do, if you tried to move her over to my side of town where I'm living now in Rancho, she would just keep talking about how horrible it is. So obviously we have a plan to make sure when she's ready for assisted living or needs help at home, we're going to keep her where she is, right? So that was her goal. My dad didn't care as long as he's with wherever my mom is, right? And so he said, well, I don't know, just whatever your mother wants, right? So we started making the plan based on where they wanted to be and the kind of level of things. My mom's not a real community person, okay? So I live in a 55 and over community. I love the activities. I love the water aerobics. I love the bingo, the card games. We're all walking all over the place. I love that stuff. I am a community type person. So if you just kept me alone in a room by myself, I would perish. So my plans are all about what is the biggest, coolest community I could be in, and where there's a lot of stuff to do, right? My mom is not that, right? So her plan is different. This talks about all these kinds of plans. Also, what are the financial resources? You know, talking to your kids or your executors, the people you want to be in charge, really, really carefully about what, you know. Some people don't want to spend all their money. They want to leave money for their kids. It's really important. They don't want the hustle. They want that house to go to the kids or the family. My in-laws are all about, you never sell a property. You keep it, you keep it, you keep it. So the kids are spending a lot of their time and energy keeping that property for the family, for their kids. It's grandma, grandpa, down now to the great-grandkids. So these are things you need to think about. Other people, they don't have that. They don't care. Their kids are fine on their own. My in-laws' kids are all fine on their own too. They don't really want it, but mom, dad, and sister. So you walk through each of these pages, and then we get to the place where, okay, now you need a little bit of help in home, right? You want to stay home. What do you need to think about to make your home safe as you get older? Grab bars, ramps. How do you pick the contractor to do that? Maybe you need some home health help, right? Kids can't come over and help And just a little bit of help will keep mom and dad, or dad at home. How do you interview somebody for that? What are the costs for that? And we have the section to fill out. Contractors. Say you decide you want to sell the home. Okay, well, there's a lot of different ways to sell the home. What kind of questions should you ask the realtor? What are the things you need to think about? Do you want to make a lot of repairs, or do you want to not make repairs? Do you want to sell to an investor, or do you want to sell on your own to another family member? All these questions we have all these questionnaires in here for you to fill out step by step, and the kinds of questions to ask. There's even a monthly home budget to figure out what do you need to live on a monthly basis. Then you can go to your financial advisor and say, hey, look, I need $4,500 in 2022 dollars a month to live, and these are my resources. How do we do that? Right? Planning for big expenses like repairs on the home and stuff like that. And then say you think, okay, it's time to move to assisted living. You want to think about this ahead. Not in an emergency, not after you've fallen and broken your hip. Not when mom's got dementia so bad she forgets your name. Or when in the evening time we see mom or dad's not safe, right? Sundowners. How do you get your health professional involved? How do you choose an assisted living? What do you ask? How do you compare all these different kinds of places? You know, what should it cost? All the places to do this kind of research are all in here. You know, do you want to be in a senior apartment or a townhome, or do you want to share a space, right? What is your budget? How much does it cost to have a nurse come in? I don't have the answers to this, but I have the questions to ask so that you can do the research. Again, the more you plan up front and think about, what do I want? What does my parent want? What do I want for my family? The more you're not coming to me, oh my God, Laurel, we have to sell the house now, right? Yes, of course, I can help. You can leave anything you want. I can help pay for the first couple months of senior living and the community fee and all that up front before we take care of the house. But that's just because there wasn't a plan in place. Okay? So please feel free to go through these. If you have any questions for me, I would love to answer them and give you any other insight. I have a great Rolodex for community resources. I'm always happy to share. Okay? So I want to bring Sherry up from New Transitions to talk about downsizing and decluttering. My next book, by the way, is going to be for hoarding. Okay, hoarders.
I will read that book.
I'm writing this one by myself. Max isn't interested, so it's been kind of interesting. But I come from a long line of hoarding, from just clutter bugs to, oh my God, how do you walk through the house?
I prefer collection.
Yes, collectors. And that's not what I'm really talking about. I'm talking about when it becomes a problem for the whole family and where you're not safe. But thank you. So Sherry, come on up.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take it, miss.
Oh, that's right. I'll get used to wearing it for a while. Thank you again, Laurel, for having us come today. My name's Sherry. I'm with New Transitions. And what we do is we are a senior move management company. So switch the slide. A senior move management company manages all of the moving parts of downsizing, moving, sorting, packing and unpacking. So when we come into a client, we are really looking at the whole picture of how can we get you from your home that you're in now to where you're wanting to be. It can involve decluttering, it can involve organizing. We do estate cleanouts as well. That's not something that you really want us to come and do for you unless you have a loved one who you just need to figure out what to do with, 20, 30, 40 years of stuff that they left in their home. And then we also take care of getting rid of those things. So, who can we help? We can help someone who is looking to just get their home staged and decluttered to put it on the market. We can also help someone who's planning to move into a retirement community. Sometimes we just need to help our clients make their home so that safety equipment or mobility equipment can be brought in. Sometimes people just need to downsize again to get into a smaller space. And sometimes someone's lived in their home for decades and they just need us to help them kind of sort through all of the memories. How do we do it? Sometimes it's amazing to see the befores and afters, and I will show you some in a little bit. But what we do is we pull, let's say there's a closet. We pull everything out of the closet all at once, and we sort it on a table, and we bring our client over and we go, look at, here's your things. What do you want to take with you to your new place? What's not serving you anymore? We do a little bit of the Marie Kondo lingo, but really, it's just to help people get to that place where they're like, yeah, I have been saving these 10 umbrellas, and I probably will only use one, or I don't like 6 of them at all, and this one's broken. So we'll do the same in the kitchen. It's amazing how those things accumulate in the kitchen. Pretty soon you've got 15 spatulas. How can you just need one. So we will go through and we'll set zones. What are you going to keep? What needs to be sold? What can be donated? What needs to get to family? And definitely what needs to be thrown away. So yeah, sometimes people, I helped my mom downsize. She pulled out a cap that my brother wore when he was 2, and he was about 25 at the time. It was broken and torn, and she said, what should I do with this? And I took it from her and I said, just look away, Mom. And I got rid of it for her. All right. This is my favorite slide. We talk about this all the time. The statistics of clutter, and 95% of us has clutter in our homes. I know this is my business, not my business, but this is what I do. I have the little piles of clutter too. So the storage facilities industry is a $154 billion industry. So if you have a storage unit, you're not alone. 25% of people with a 2-car garage cannot park in their garage. 1 in 10 people have an off-site storage unit. And the average number of items in a household are 300,000 items. And that's counting everything.
When did you come to my house?
We can come. So this is why we have our job, because clutter is, just an American phenomenon. All right. Here's some great before and afters, what we have done. And this is really something that we could do in one session, maybe a session and a half, but we really, it's all about taking everything and looking at it as a whole and just systematically taking care of the items. Here's another one. So, sometimes it's just talking about how can we manage the clutter, how can we make it work better for our clients. So, get some storage units, some storage items there.
That looks like my old office.
Oh, there you go. But maybe it is. No. Here's another one. So sometimes our clients really do have a situation where they just can't even move around in their own homes. So it's all about, really looking at everything and helping them let go of those items that they're really not using, that they're saving because they're sentimental or they feel obligated to hold on to it. Maybe it was passed down from a family member. And we just help them figure out how can we make these things go to a place that they're happy with, So any move manager that is worth their weight is a member of NASM, which stands for the National Organization of Senior Move Managers. So if you are in another area, or if you have a family member that needs to be helped in another state or another county, you can go to this website, it's nasm.org, and you can look up senior move managers, and you can find them in any place in the United States. We go through a certification process to become NASM members, so it is, it's a badge of honor to have this title.
It was .org?
.org, yes. The other thing that we really love about what we do is we have such a great network of resources. So when our clients call us, we ask them, do you need us to set up movers? We have a network of movers that we really like, who work the same way that we like to work. So when they come and unpack the boxes at the end, they know, oh gosh, this is a kitchen box. I better go take this box to the kitchen, or the New Leaf ladies are going to tell me to pick up the box and put it in the kitchen. We work with realtors. We have shredding services. So as you're going through those, papers from all of the years and the tax returns from 2003, we have shredding services that we pull in. We do estate sale and auction referrals. So we do not personally do estate sales. We actually really encourage people not to do estate sales, but sometimes it makes sense, and so we have referrals for those. And then we also have junk haulers and labor people and dumpster rentals. So we really do have the whole package to take whatever it is in the home and get it to the manageable amount, to downsize or to just make space.
May I ask a question?
Yes.
Why not have an estate sale?
Well, when you have someone come in and do an estate sale, maybe you'd like to do it yourself, and that's a little bit different. But when you have someone coming in to do an estate sale, they will either take half or charge for their time and also take a percentage. And so, and not everything is probably going to sell. So in the end, you still have some items. You don't have a lot of money for those items because of their cut. We a lot of times suggest, hey, if you will take it to a charity, or we can take it to a charity and donate it, we'll get you receipts for your taxes. We'll itemize what you're taking. And a lot of times taking it as a tax deduction is a better value than the money that you get at the end of an estate sale.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. All right, we are up for any challenge. So we have done 500 square foot houses. We have done 15,000 square foot houses. So if you're worried that maybe you have too much or not enough, it's not true. We can do any size. And we love what we do. So New Leaf has a team of about 12 people who work and do all of this. And people sometimes ask, do you all interview each other before the job? We have fun. We get along. We all have the same type of brain that works about how do we pack this and how do we get this out where it needs to go. So we have a wonderful team, and we really do enjoy working together and working with our clients. All right, this is our website, newleafseniortransitions.com. And if you want to email us, I'll have some cards too, but our email address is info@newleafsmm for seniormovemanagers.com. Picture of our vans all lined up there. Thank you so much for listening to me today.
Awesome.
Oh, and I'm going to introduce Shauna to come on up.
All right.
I think it's Shauna.
Oh, is it?
It's
Oh, it's Michael
It's our
from.
video first.
And I'm going to introduce Michael.
That'll work. That'll work. On there. That'll work. On there. So I'm gonna have some fun with you guys today, just to let you know. So Laurel was basically saying a couple of moments ago, if you need to have about $4,000 some odd per month, what do you need? So we're gonna play a little game. Think about this while I'm talking. How much do you need to have if you're gonna live 20 years and $4,200 some odd dollars every single month for the rest of your life.
Can I use my calculator?
You can use your calculator,
More than I do.
absolutely. But with that being said, my name's Mike DeFilippis. I work with Edward Jones Investments. I've been blessed to only have 2 jobs in my entire career there after college. Mary Jane Garza knows me for one of them. My first stint was at a little company called USAA Insurance for about 14 and a half years there. Outside of that, I came to Edward Jones. And the reason why was because they said, Edward Jones, it's about service. It's about that concierge level. And it's about making a difference. And one of the biggest ways we can make a difference for people is helping them understand that living well today means you have to make the right choices there. My father, God rest his soul, passed away 2 years ago. He always said, Mike, son, love you to death. But here's the catch. You can have anything you want. You can make any choice you want. As long as you're comfortable with the consequences. If you're comfortable with the consequences, God bless you. Remember, and by the way, so I learned really fast that if you make the right choices, sometimes the consequences aren't what you want to see either. And that's not what we want to see, especially as we're transitioning into that next stage of life. Next slide. Plan to have a better tomorrow. Next slide. There we go. So you first start off with a couple of, I've taken a 20-slide presentation and knocked it down to 5, just to let you know. There. So where am I today? We all have to start somewhere. If you're gonna plan a vacation, you start where you are today. You think, where am I gonna go? So you gotta know how much money you have, what your cash flow is, everything that Laurel was talking about earlier. It's so critical to know where everything is and to have that team. And it's not just the team that Laurel was talking about that we're talking to each other. Is that we're talking the same language, which is what is most important for the client's benefit. Not ours. If we do our job right, everybody gets paid. The person that needs to get paid is the client at the end of the day. They come first. Income sources, potential expenses. Do we know what long-term care assisted living costs are going to be down the road? I do. I have a good idea. You give me almost any goal within 15, 20 years, I can pretty much map it out for you. But the premise comes back into playing is, when we start moving into some of these communities, they don't tell us every single cost. It's kind of like when you move into a house. Nobody tells you about the transitional costs. It's about the mops and the cleaning supplies, sometimes the movers and the extra packing. So we got to work together to get those right expenses laid out there. Available buckets to supplement. Commonly called savings and checking accounts. We know what those are. Retirement accounts, the insurance policies, pensions. What's going to get us through our budgeting process next time? Once we have that information, it's easy. I always like to sometimes say, start here first. Where do you want to be? Dream. I put the sign here saying nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. I tell it to my daughter all the time. Where does she want to go? Paris. Okay, it's on the list. She also said she wanted to go to Disney during Christmas. So we did that last year. We had a horrendous last couple of years, and we said, darn it, or the ladies in the room. We have to basically, every once in a while, make it happen. So we figured out ways to do that. What's most important to you? Is it where you live? Is it how you live? Is it your family? I know so many seniors that want to give so much to their kids. They are the giving generation. Challenge lies that sometimes they don't have enough to give. Keep doing the calculations. Living in retirement, living the dream. We've worked our years for the greatest, longest vacation of our lives. Let's have fun, let's make it happen. But you gotta plan for those unexpected things, whether it's estate planning, insurance concerns, you name it. We always prepare, hey, if I invest so many dollars at such and such a rate, or I put so much money aside, it's gonna hit this magic number, and it will. Unless you can't do it because somebody died. So a lot of times I run strategy reports. Let's say this couple here was married to each other. Hypothetically speaking. They've been married for 10 years, you have a wonderful life. Sit down with me. One of the first conversations we're going to have as a planner is, I'm going to show you what happens when he dies or when she dies. How does that change your dream? How does that impact your life? Let's solve for the solutions. Assisted living. Hey guys, let me make it really easy for you. I got 30 seconds or something. Make it really easy. It's not the markets we need to be concerned about as far as what's going to derail your retirement. It's going to be this thing called assisted living, long-term care. That's the thing that's scaring the crap out of all of us financial advisors, if you really ask us. The markets are easy. We got that covered. Long-term, good visions. They're providing a legacy, comes with an understanding. Seek an understanding, then a strategy. Understand who you are, what you want. Next slide. Understand what you are, who you want, and then let's solve for a strategy. Don't go for investments. Investments are the worst thing in the world. Love this guy. Love this guy.
Yep.
I picked that one for my family photos for a dead reason. Remember what I was saying earlier? Choices, consequences? Sutter's Fort, in case you guys don't recognize it. Let me help you out what Sutter's Fort is all about. It's a lesson in real life. You make the wrong choices, you pay the consequences. Good advisors, we're out there, guys. I'm not the only one, let me be honest. We use an established process to help you build personalized strategies to help achieve your personal goals, making really good choices. Partnering throughout one's life. If I pass away, I got people lined up that I've already mapped out to help take care of my clients. And they're not all the same person, just to let you know. It's gotta be concierge. That's what makes Edward Jones different. If you're looking for transactional, that's not Edward Jones. If you're looking for a relationship, you're scratching the surface of what Edward Jones is about. If you're looking for the experience, that's me and my fellow brethren. Next slide. Make good choices. Call to arms. This is the slide that we want to talk about for 1 minute. So what should you do for today's investors? Again, 20 slides, down to 6. 5. First and foremost, while we can't control what's going on in the markets, the last 2 months have definitely presented some interesting times. We can control how we deal with it and what investment strategies we want to be using. With that being said, each of our goals needs to have a timeline. We need to be thinking about living for a long life. If you are age 60, there's at least, what is it, a 90% chance, I believe, or 60% chance that at least one of you are going to live to age 90. To age 90. That's where long-term care comes into play. Maintain balance. Growth is still important in retirement. We all want to grow our portfolios. But realize there's some rockiness that might be happening there, and we don't want to get sized out and sacrifice our long-term gains for short-term savings, if you will. Sometimes investing in a down market is not a bad thing. Last time I checked, how many people like to buy things on sale? Everybody in America buys things on sale except for their retirement accounts. Oh, I don't want to get in the market sale, the market sale. Well, hello, guys. It's on sale. Rising interest rates have brought a level of risk not seen for 40 years. It's a big concern. Most of my clients that are in their transitional years have about 40 to 60% of their portfolios tied to fixed incomes. There's a real fancy thing called duration risk relative to market risk relative to rising interest rates and the correlation of the key rates. How many of your advisors, bottom line, have told you that? They don't, by the way. The reason why is nobody understands. Here's an easy thing. As interest rates move in different cycles, parts of your portfolio will drop. The average person's fixed income account that I've seen right now will drop about 6 to 12% per year. No biggie. 1 year, who cares? It's going to happen this year. It's going to happen next year. And it's going to happen the next year. Compounded on top of each other. That's about a 20 to 30% drop of a part of your portfolio. What if you could mitigate it? What if you didn't have to have that big of a drop? Good advisors. Don't reach for the highest yield possible. Love the fear, fear the greed. Love the fear, fear the greed. There's lots of little analogies there. Let's just jump into the next slide because I need to wrap this up. Favorite quotes. You might know this guy, Mike B. Philippus. There. Plans based upon prudence more often allow one to be proactive versus reactive. Where did I get that? A little company called USA Insurance, but let's not go there. And then my favorite quote of all, son, life is about choices and consequences. That's where I got it, guys, no kidding. There, make any choice you want as long as you'll be comfortable with the consequence. God rest your soul, Dad. There, passed away 2020, miss him very much. There, next one. The choice is ours. You can live really well today if you make good choices. You can live even better if you've made the right choices and now you get to reap the consequences. My name is Mike D. Philippus. Thank you very much for your time today. There, who is it? Sean is next?
Dustin.
Dustin, our great planning estate attorney here. He'll be coming in just momentarily.
Sorry I couldn't be there today. You can see I got a little sun over the weekend, and anyway, I wanted to take a few minutes and just talk about some of the things I believe regarding estate planning and why it's so important. So I believe that a person who truly loves his or her family will do an estate plan. And somebody who really doesn't care about their family is just going to ignore it. This is because an estate plan does what we always want to do, which is protect our family and set them up for a better future, for a better tomorrow. Without doing an estate plan, it's really leaving things, not even to chance, it's leaving it to government intervention and family fighting and bickering. That's really what an estate plan is all about, is putting together a set of written instructions so that your family can be in charge and they know exactly what they're supposed to do. Some key components of an estate plan that make life better for your family. Well, the first one really is the importance of having a living trust. If you own real estate in California, you have got to have a living trust. The living trust does a great job at two things. Number one, the living trust sets up a plan or instructions about what's going to happen to your real estate and your cash assets if you become ill or injured. You see, there is no rule or set of instructions without this. Just because you've been married to someone for 100 years, just because you're related to them, just because you live next door, does not mean that you have the right to deal with the person's assets, deal with their real estate, deal with their money. And so the living trust does a great job at appointing a person to be in charge of your money. The other thing that the living trust does really, really well is avoid our horrible California probate. If you're not familiar with what probate is, it is a year-long or 2-year-long government intrusion into the lives of your family after you die. And just nobody wants to go to court. Nobody wants to deal with a judge, and nobody wants to be told what to do. An estate plan also makes it easy for your family to take care of you if you get sick. It lets them deal with doctors and banks and your investment accounts and your 401k, everything that they would need to get or need to have access to take care of you. It's all right there, rolled up nice and neat in your estate plan. You know, a lot of people think, well, their first question is, how much does an estate plan cost? And I think that's the wrong question to ask. The question that people should be asking is, and maybe it's really two questions, what's at risk, and what does it cost if I don't have an estate plan? So let me tell you about Mrs. Smith, who we're working with right now. Her husband refused to get an estate plan because he promised her that everything was taken care of. Well, as it turns out, it wasn't. And when he passed away, she lost her house, her income, and her retirement, all because her husband did not do an estate plan. And it could have been a simple estate plan, but he should have taken the time to make sure that she was taken care of. Instead, he just left it to chance, And when he passed away, the court required that her home be sold, that the money be given to a charity, and that she ended up with just almost nothing. All of this because her husband did not plan. And so, you know, he was afraid of spending a few $1,000s preparing his estate plan, when in actuality, that cost his wife hundreds of thousands of dollars, plus losing her home, plus moving, plus the emotional toll and the financial toll is just too much to bear. Not having an estate plan is really equivalent of saying, I don't care about your future, deal with it, it's not my problem. And I just don't think that most people really want to say that to their loved ones. We don't say that to our spouse. When we get married, we say, for better or worse, until death do we part. And we promise to take care of our spouse, to love our spouse, to do everything we can to make sure his or her life is better. And that includes protecting our spouse after we're gone. The best way you can do that is to ensure that you have an estate plan, working with someone to make sure that it's not only put together properly, but implemented and it's actually going to work. So ask the right questions, but make sure that your estate plan is done and it's going to work. This is how you can show your spouse or show your children that you truly love and care for them. They shouldn't have to worry about what happens when you get sick, and you shouldn't have to worry either. This is one of the most important things you can do. If anyone has any additional questions or you want to learn more about what makes an estate plan great and how you can implement your estate plan, you can always reach me by calling 916-674-2066. Laurel has my number. She can give you my number at any time. She knows a lot as well, but this is important and it's got to be done. Again, I'm sorry I couldn't be there today, but hopefully this was helpful. If you have any additional questions, you can always reach out to me. Again, 916-674-2066. Have a fantastic day, and I hope...
And there you go.
Hey guys, so again, thank you for coming today. We're really happy to have you here at the Meadows and to be able to also share through our FaceTime Live all the information that we've collectively put together. We like to work in this industry as a group of resources to help aging folks and their families learn about the right steps to take when they're thinking about not only their family and planning for their family and loved ones, but also after all the hard work and the planning, what about you? So here at the Meadows, it's really about the full community experience. So from dining and nutrition to activities, living well, being healthy, as well as compassionate care, making sure that all your health needs are addressed and that you have the care and the assistance that you need when that time comes. Those are all part of the cornerstones of senior living here at the Meadows. If we can go to the next slide. So I put together just a sample of our dining, and you can see that, I think people have this preconceived notion about what dining in senior living looks like, and really it's fun to show people how different it really is. Just even inviting them to a meal, they're like, wow, I have all these choices, this is like a restaurant. Dining here at the Meadows is not just about the nutrition or just that meal, it's also a social dynamic. So it's an opportunity to come together, to share a meal together, to enjoy each other's company. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, here in our community, we're serving multiple entree options each day. We have an everyday menu. So it really is a full experience, a full dining experience. And we can go to the next slide. We can also accommodate special diets, so that's really important for everybody to know, and that's that nutrition side. Activities and living well, this is just a sample of so many of the activities that we have to offer. So for exercise and being active, anything from a leisurely walk to power exercise, chair yoga. So regardless of whether or not you're fully ambulatory, or let's say using a power chair or wheelchair walker, we have something for everybody. games, Roomy Cube, educational series. So right now, a lot of our residents are enjoying a new Netflix show, Somebody Feed Phil, and just watching more about travels and food and experiences. Ending up with Nickel Bingo and then NBA games. So there's a full schedule of activities, very diverse. So something for everybody, and really what we want to share is that our community is redefining what senior living looks like. It's not, the senior living we saw in the 70s and the 80s, or even the 90s for that matter. It's really evolved and changed. We're seeing people that are embracing it younger and younger, wanting to enjoy the fruits of their labor. So the other aspect is sometimes it's not just a want, it's a need. So we're here to help with the wellness aspect. We can go to the next slide. So everything from medication management and keeping somebody on schedule and keeping somebody healthy, because the medication management, really making sure that people are taking their medications on schedule, have the right medications, can keep the whole body well. And that's really our aim. But for somebody who's perhaps having more physical issues, dressing, grooming, bathing, transferring assistance, escort and mobility to meals, to activities. So if you're at home and you're experiencing these types of, I would say, obstacles, that won't happen here. We can help you to make the things, help you to enjoy the things you really love to do, and remove those obstacles. So personal care, incontinence, and then also personal laundry. So both aspects, the social dynamic as well as the wellness. And so we are offering tours of the community. We love to, talk with you some more and show you more about what the community is really about. And if you want to stay after, I'd love to show you. And also for our FaceTime Live, if anybody's wanting to schedule a visit here at the community, reach out to me. I'm Shauna Kraft, the Sales and Marketing Director. And the phone number here is 916-714-3755. And you can also find us on the internet at the meadowssenior.net. So thank you very, very much for joining us.
Well, again, thanks for coming, and we'll